So we had one best practice example, and now we are going to talk about another inspirational project. And you have a guest here you're going to interview now.
It's Margherita Trestini.
Thank you.
So Margherita, she has 25 years of experience in business development and communication. She's the marketing director at Area, and she is working in the Feed4Food project specifically. And so I'm going to ask you a couple of questions to try to inspire others about practices in communication.
Thank you, first of all, for inviting us to say a few words about Feed4Food and how we are approaching the dissemination and communication activities. We are actually the partner taking care of the promotion. I'm a little bit humbled. Don't be too harsh with me. All researcher academics, we are a marketing background.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk a little bit about the project. What's the main challenge that the Feed4Food wants to tackle?
When we started working on Feed4Food proposal, which by the way is led by the University of Amsterdam, we're looking at two very concrete challenges all of us experience. COVID-19, you remember the lockdown time? The most affected there were the most vulnerable citizens in our cities. Being locked down meant no small income, more daily small income, meaning reduced budget for healthy food, for example. The food supply chain were endangered by the lockdown, of course. And then more recently, the war in Ukraine. Again, we saw the spike, the inflation, and obviously the dependency of European cities, of our society on international food supply chain. So what we want to do with Feed4Food, try to empower local communities in different countries, we'll see the details, in food generation, but also food gardening and so on, but also in generating their own small entrepreneurship spirit among the most vulnerable for income from one side and self-sustainable food production in short supply chain.
Thank you. That was really clear. How do you think that communication in this case can help you achieving that specific goal?
If you ask somebody that has been working in marketing communication for the last 25 years, you will say it's the most important part of any kind of activity.
Yeah.
Which is not always the beloved part of the academic partners. But actually, the communication starts at the very beginning, different stages of the project, different stakeholders, different objectives. Right now, with Feed4Food, we are working on 4 living labs in 4 different countries. Strovolos in Cyprus, Drama in Greece, Gdansk in Poland, and Bucharest in Romania. We will involve migrants, for example, Syrian refugees from Syria in Cyprus, with Ukrainian migrants mainly in Poland, and so on. Right now, the most important goal in communication is engage intermediaries. Some of them are partners, like NGO, are partners of the project. Sometimes they are not partners. We need them on board to get the participants, the owner of the living labs at the end of the day. Later on, we will need to open up the living labs to the rest of the citizens and make sure that the political stakeholders, policymakers are aware of what we are doing and see the potential for replicability. And then, of course, we have all the data collection and insights generated, and we need to do the part of more scientific dissemination for replicability.
So as I understand, then communication activities can help you to engage NGOs, to engage stakeholders and people who are in the living labs. Is that?
Yes, right now it's intermediaries and then the beneficiaries, making sure that the local communities that we envisage are actually part of it, and they perceive the benefit and the long-term impact for their own daily life.
Okay, thank you. And can you share, for example, one communication activity that has worked really well in the past, and why do you think that's the case?
Sure. We will organize open days. We tested open days in living labs in, I would dare to say, much more challenging settings in Africa with another project. The idea is actually to, at a certain point when the living labs are up and running, to open the doors to the rest of the communities in our cities, right? But we want the participants of the living lab to co-create, to decide the when, the how, the what, to whom. For example, finger food, cooking classes, showcasing their own traditional food making with the products of the urban farming, or classes engagement of schools. We will be there to facilitate and to help, but it will be the people to decide what to do and to run the activities. The purpose is they will own on the long term this living lab. They should be proud of what they are doing and be recognized by the rest of the community for the efforts and for the results that they have achieved. So we will be there side by side to help, not to do it.
Thank you. And are there any alternative ways that of communication that you've considered?
We are maybe too many. I will mention a few. And again, here we are generating ideas, but it will be also up to the local partners to decide. I didn't mention before, of course, there is a matter of context and language. We're talking at different countries, different language, but also communities like Syrians, Ukrainian, with, again, need of adapting also the communication in terms of really concretely translation of whatever we do. In terms of innovative ideas, we are looking at Lego diorama. I don't know how many of you have played with Lego bricks when you were young. This is an idea that right now is our partner in Strovolos that is more excited about. And we would like the Living Lab to reproduce with the Lego their own farm. And this could become an installation to be brought into schools or in a town hall or a square in the city and so on. Another idea is a beacon-based podcast, meaning installing IoT wireless device at the premise of the urban garden. This IoT device will continuously send signals that can be captured by mobile phones or passing by people. They will receive a message, an alert, there is a podcast available. And the podcast could be story tale for children around healthy food, but could be the story of the Living Lab or announcing there is a moment of a food market, come and buy your zucchini or whatever, right? Third idea is 3D printing for data. Data for non-researchers or well-educated people can be very hard to read through and they're not very consumable, accessible. So we're thinking maybe for the key insights to make this data in 3D real object. If it's in big scale, could be again an installation. People can walk by and see the data in a shape, in a 3D shape, or miniaturized as giveaway at events. So these are some of the ideas.
Thank you so much for sharing, Margherita.
Thank you.